Hi there. Welcome to the Schwowin's Nest. My name is Sandra, and I'm so glad you're here. If you're new to my channel, I'd love it if you could hit that red subscribe button and stick around a while. Now let's get crafting. So this project is a little different than what I normally do, and I want to teach you how to create your own hand-painted pumpkins. I love to use signs that are already been used. This one had, I think it was a truck on it at one point, glued at the top. I'm going to just give it a good sanding, and then I'll give it another coat of paint. This time for the fall, I like to use more of an off-white color, kind of creamy. I think it blends well with the tones of pumpkins. So I'm going to give it one coat of parchment chalk paint. I already have an idea of what I want to paint in my head. But if you wanted to get some inspiration online, or maybe you have a book, you can definitely just have something sitting in front of you and look off of that. I'm going to be creating a taller pumpkin in the center and then two more fatter and squatter pumpkins on each side. The first thing I'm going to do is take a small artist brush using my favorite fall color, which is called Honey Brown from Americana. And if I can find it on Amazon, I'll leave a link for you down in my description box. I'm going to just outline this first taller pumpkin with the orange color. I love this color because it is literally a brown with a little bit of honey in it, and it lends itself to a really nice rustic color rather than the bright orange that you normally see. Once you have the outline done, then you're going to start blending the original color. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm not going to be adding too much more paint to my brush. I just want to make this line a little bit thicker and actually kind of diffuse the original break of the line. It's kind of hard to describe, but when I go over it this way, you can see that the original line is kind of going to disappear from my first circle, and that's what I want to achieve. The next thing I'm going to be doing is grabbing this little Dixie cup and adding a little spritz of water in there because I want to be able to dilute the color and get it more of a blend and softer towards the center. So that's what I'm going to be doing here now. It looks like I'm adding more of the darker paint, but I'm actually just blending it out a little bit so it doesn't have so many harsh lines and so it doesn't look like there's an actual brush stroke creating a circle. What's happening here now is that the water is activating the chalk paint a little bit, the parchment color underneath, and I'm pulling some of that onto my brush, which was kind of a happy accident. I really didn't plan for it. I did have the parchment ready to go because I was going to be adding some of that anyway, but this just helps to blend everything together. And you can see the dark shading on the outside and it getting gradually lighter on the inside. Now, one thing to remember is when you're painting a pumpkin, something that you want to have dimension to, you want it to look 3D. So what I'm doing with my brush here is going around in sort of an ovally circle because I want those brush strokes, when you see them, to show that there is some dimension to this pumpkin. And you can actually see that already now, right? It's coming into, you can see that there's like roundness to it. It's kind of hard to explain, but I'm hoping that you'll be able to see it. I've dipped my brush again into the paint, but very lightly, and now it's time to start painting in the grooves of the pumpkin, and that's where it's going to start taking shape. So every pumpkin has a little bit of the bumps and lines to it, but even just adding that little bit of an oval right into the center just brings it to life. And again, I'll be taking my brush and just blending out those lines just a little bit. I don't want them too prominent and too stark. I dipped my paintbrush very lightly into the paint again, and I'm just giving it a little bit more dimension in the center here. It's starting to kind of look like a bullseye a little bit, but that's going to change, so no worries about that. And all you're going to do is just keep blending the colors until you get the look that you want. It's really simple. It's actually, pumpkins are probably one of the easiest things to draw and paint. Now I've dipped my brush into some antiquing wax and I'm using the same brush and I'm not cleaning it in between. And this is just going to add another dimension of color. And I'm going to be doing all the way around the outside and then just making the grooves of those pumpkins look a little bit more distinct. And it also kind of makes it look like they're a little dirty, which is really fun because I mean, pumpkins are never clean when they come from the field, right? And again, just blending things together. You can see here that I'm just taking my brush and just blending it out so it's not so stark, right? It does get a little bit thicker in some areas, but that's okay. You know, like I even just dunked it now in some water again because I wanted it to be a little bit even more prominent. And this is just all about layering the colors until you love what it looks like, right? I'm going to be changing this up a couple of different times. That's why you're just going to see me reaching for different things. I decided now that I put too much of the antiquing wax in the center here, so I took a paper towel and just wiped some of it off. You can still see some of the lines and the dimension of the little rounded areas, but it's not as dark. I'm using the antiquing wax again, and now I'm going to be drawing the stem. The stems of the pumpkins are always kind of wonky, and that's where the little vine tendril ends up being. So I'm just going to be creating my little pumpkin stem just with the antiquing wax for now. And I'm just going to kind of leave it that way. I thought it was really nice. I'm going to be coming back to it after and adding a little bit more details to it. But for right now, I just wanted to get a little bit of a stem going. And I think this looks absolutely gorgeous. For my second pumpkin, I am deciding to go with sort of a sage green color. I just think like green gourds and stuff are just so much fun and they just look really neat. So I'm going to just continue with this one. I'm going to use the same techniques with different shading, with watering it down a little bit, and then adding some of the antiquing wax. So I'm just going to put some music on for you and you guys can just see how this one turns out. Same kind of technique as the first one.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young and it's just begun as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be two hearts running wild. never stop. As we shot from the top, we're gonna be two hearts running wild. We're gonna be two hearts running wild.
Now that all 3 of my pumpkins are completed, I'm going to do some letters just using a black Sharpie marker. I did pencil them out and they're just going to be simple, plain, just up and down. This is something that anybody can do. If you're concerned about making sure that they're all the same height, you can use some painter's tape at the top and at the bottom. I'll be doing that with the next word. I'm just going to be writing in hello at the top and then pumpkin down the side. For the word pumpkin, I'm putting it down the side this way. I just thought it would be a little unique and a little quirky. Some fun stuff to do, right? So I did use a piece of washi tape to make sure that my letters are going to be all the same size at the bottom and nice and straight. And now I'm just using the Sharpie marker again, and I'm going to do the same thing, just outlining my letter thickness and then filling it in. And you know what? It doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, I prefer it if it's not perfect. But if you are someone who needs things to be perfectly rounded and centered, then you might need to use a Cricut machine or maybe a stencil or some stenciling letters that you find. So you do you and work out whatever works for you best. Always like to add a little bit of something extra to the letters. So you can see that I had already done that on the word hello. And all I'm doing is drawing a little line on the left side of each of the letters just to give it a little bit more character. And again, to make it look a little bit more unique and high end. I took some sandpaper and I'm going to go really rough around the edges of the piece of wood. I want to see all of that regular original wood coming through, and I'm going to bring it up a little bit over the sides. So I'm really going to go to town on this, especially within the corners, and I want to make it look old. Then what I'm going to do with the sandpaper is just very lightly go over the letters so they're not 100% crisp, and you can see that they may have worn off a little bit. I really love how this sign turned out. I hope you enjoyed the pumpkin tutorial, and let me know if you're going to try it yourself. Now let's take a look at the staged sign. I hope you enjoyed this pumpkin painting tutorial. Let me know if you're going to try it yourself. Thanks so much for spending some of your time with me today. I truly appreciate it. See you in the next one.